Hello everyone, Blue Star Saber here once again to do another One Piece chapter review, chapter 1072, The Weight of Memory. Let's see, I'm doing the early translations for 1073 is out, so I decided to do this one now before it gets too late. Apologize for any noise in the background, and I'll probably be, and who knows, I may be doing something special for One Piece on Saturday, but it's a bit late, but for what it is. But anyway, 1072, The Weight of Memory. I've already said that. I'm repeating myself. Apologies. But before that, there's the Gemma's R66, An Emotionless Excursion, Volume 28, Mass-Produced Weapons of Slaughter. As we see Judge, Queen, and Caesar working on various projects, or maybe even working towards the same project altogether. We have Judge with some sort of spear-like device. Let's see, Caesar with a devil fruit, a black one, and Queen with some poison. Arguably, it might just be what they're all working on together, but it seems like a few years have passed since the last cover, as Queen's gotten a bit more, I think, chubbier and all that stuff. But yeah, pretty much got them all working. This might be when these three are just getting along at the time, but who knows? Let's see. I don't know. Eventually, the mad scientists all ended up hating each other. But anyway, yeah, on to the actual chapter. Let's see. We get a bit of a narration talking about how the world doesn't agree. Apparently, talking about how she is a living person and a true will be human, and it was a success. It's clearly narrating what I think is going to happen at the end of the chapter. As the person says, there's one great step to creating the world tomorrow for peace and all that stuff. And let's see, it's clear it's like Dr. Vegabond quote and all that stuff, which clearly it's probably a reference to what happens later in the chapter. But we have Bonnie crying as a little kid, thinking that she's broke her bone and all that stuff. Vegapunk shows to be concerned, worried that she actually heard and asked for a medical team, saying that she should help, but you can see the sparkling eyes in Bonnie as she then transforms into a, distorted future of hers, in which I think she's a bit more muscle-bound, kind of got like the shape of Kuma, if you will, and I think he ends up attempting to whack Vegapunk with a bat, with the pipe. This is what Sabo has. And Vegapunk starts running away, asking him to not kill him and all that stuff. As she ends up using the move called Age Skewer, hitting him with the pipe, and we see these star-like and other gooey-like heart-shaped things coming out. Stars, moons, hearts and all that stuff, and we see Vegapunk transformed into like a little kid, maybe even a toddler. Let's see him cursing her, apparently realizing that this shining material is supposed to be his age. Let's see. As he comments about how he's been turned into a powerless child, and asks him to give him back his sparkling gems of experience. Let's see, as she tells him not to worry, as his powers will not work on living things indefinitely, and saying that and asks him that he said that there was a good reason and all that stuff, so she wants to hear it, asking why Vegapunk, killed her father. But of him going like saying, "But Barney, if I tell you," then of course it gets interrupted here. But scene cuts. But let's see. As for my thoughts on what has happened, I do like how Barney is a bit crafty. Let's see, with like a devil fruit bite, pretending to be a helpless poor child that's hurt to draw sympathy. I thought that was pretty clever at her. And it is interesting to learn a bit more about her abilities, that she can, she can age herself into the ages in the future. She can actually choose, let's see, alternative futures for what a character could be, like she did with let's see, Elder Luffy from a few chapters back. It seems like she can also do one where she's a bit more, much more strong and all that stuff, like a muscled woman and all that stuff. And apparently this one's a distorted future, so curious what let's see. We also know that there's one that she's looked like a shivered old elderly woman, but from the Leverly. But who knows? We don't know whether or not those are her set futures or all futures are just endless possibilities for the time being. Until let's see. Let's see. Depending on her choices and actions in life, will determine which of those futures. But I do. Let's see. And also we also learn a bit more about, let's see, her ability. Let's see, I do also like that we learn how she can also de-age people by taking out bits of their, let's see, age and experience. Let's see, when whacking with an object and like stuff comes out and all that stuff. So yeah, let's see. And it's interesting that there are actually limits on her devil fruit. Let's see. So let's see. And this is probably something that people were wondering about, because there's like previous, let's see, examples of her devil fruit in the work, particularly against some Marines, about how long does this ability last, because we saw her turn Marines into kids and elderly when she was first escaping Shadow Obi, but it seems like it's only temporary. Eventually, it will reverse back, so long as they're not like damaged and killed or all that stuff before that happens and all that stuff. So yeah, it's much different to Shinobu's rust fruit, I think it was, where the effects are permanent. Here, they're unpermanent. So the two fruits were quite similar. There are some sort of like differences in strengths and weaknesses, or consequences or non-consequences, if you will, with that. Granted, I think this also means that Bonnie is not going to be able to de-age Momonosuke, if some were thinking, but from what I can tell, most are probably happy about this revelation, because I think they didn't really want let's see, Momonosuke to Witty lose his sacrifice of giving away 20 years of his lifespan. He probably should have had naturally aging anyway, but just so he could help Luffy in the fight against Kaido and all that stuff. But yeah. I also do kind of like how we get a bit more of like a Vegapunk's caring side, and he does show that he does care for Bonnie, and perhaps maybe he's a bit, and also shown that perhaps like Nami, he's quite sympathetic to children and all that stuff, given the body thing, which probably wouldn't be surprised if it leads more to the theory that, okay, this might actually be the actual Shaka Vegapunk, and the Stellar one is actually the one we know as Shaka, and they've actually placed bodies. I know that some people are having the theory that the Shaka one is the one that opened the force fields, but who knows? We'll probably get those answers. But yeah, but still, but it goes to show you that Vegapunk is a pretty decent fella. But interesting thing is that, let's see, even though there's a reason why he can't can't bring Kuma back, he's promised that he's unable to tell her and all that stuff. And we end up seeing, let's see, when we come to, let's see, Kuma climbing up the red port and all that stuff with spectators watching. He ends up revealing that he can't really tell Bonnie because it will only hurt her. So yeah, so he has reasons why he can't turn Kuma back, and he also isn't unable to tell Bonnie why and all that stuff. With her curious why it's that. And apparently it's because, of course, he made a promise to Kuma that he would never tell her the reason why. So yeah, Kuma has pretty much the main reason why Vegapunk cannot do this. So yeah, I thought it's like that's clearly that these two have a secret that they cannot, let's see, tell her, which will probably break her heart. But yeah. And clearly this sort of angers Bonnie and all that stuff. So yeah. Because like, okay, you have a reason, but you can't tell me. And thinking that she's being treated like a fool and all that stuff. And as Vegapunk tries to explain, saying that the decision to take away his free will came from Kuma himself. And she doesn't believe him, as he would never die and leave her behind, accusing him of killing it. As she explains how it was hard for him and doesn't even really want to remember it. As he talked about how Kuma was a great man and was proud of him as his friend. Let's see. And And apparently loved him with all his heart. Okay, that's getting a bit chippy. That's getting a bit chippy here, but yeah. But due to the fact that he seems to really treat Kuma as a dear friend, he cannot tell Bonnie and all that stuff. As we see Marines shooting him down and all that stuff, or trying to shoot him down. Which, of course, she ends up saying that she cannot accept this answer. Let's see, and he guys go like, child abuse, but yeah. So I do like how Bonnie is just being completely skeptical of Vegapunk's claims, like, oh, you can't tell me, that's convenient and all that stuff. So yeah, I think that let's see, I think anyone would like, oh, you have a reason, but you can't tell me. Sounds like you're just making excuses to try and live. But yeah. But it is interesting that, let's see, Vegapunk really does view Kuma as a very dear friend and all that stuff. So, yeah. But Barney is clearly angry that even when Vegapunk even is in the kid form, she doesn't mind harming him and all that stuff. Whether or not that be for any other child, but I don't know. But it's clearly it's more like personal between her and Vegapunk. So, yeah. I doubt it would be like, let's see, harming Tal and that just enraging Nami, but yeah. But anyway, during this, Barney ends up hearing a sound and ends up looking and heading towards it with Vegapunk pleading with her not to go there, trying to say that it's nothing to do with Kuma, but she doesn't believe it, which, to be fair to her, given the fact it's got Kuma's bear print on it, which it's in no way she wouldn't believe that excuse. So, yeah, despite being the smartest man, it seems like even Vegapunk can't do it. So you always come up with a clever lie and all that stuff. And she ends up rusting the lock to it, something with a move called Ollie Shark, and we end up seeing a giant paw of Kuma's. So yeah, I do like that we see more of her Bonnie's abilities, and the fact that she's got a similar ability to, and it shows like, yeah, it's very similar to the Rust fruit. And granted, it's probably this time permanent because, it's not a living object. But yeah. Interesting, and this is what we cut to a flashback between the younger Kuma and Vegapunk. Let's see in this as he's looking on what Bonnie's doing. And apparently, Kuma's questioning about this whole memory thing, as apparently, Vegapunk's talking about how a scholar in the West once said about people lose 21 grams of weight after they die, and then apparently it's the human soul leaving their body. Let's see, saying that, okay, if the soul really exists, they can actually observe it and thinking it's fascinating. And interesting that this is another theory that might end up being true in One Piece. Granted, from what I understand, it was based on a real life theory back in the early 20th or 19th century, I believe. I don't know who thought of it, but it was a very controversial one, and I think no actual doctor or scientist believes it now, except maybe a very ultra-religious one, perhaps. So, yeah. But it is interesting that this theory ends up being used in this thing, but yeah. And this giant paw is memories, and it seems like we learn that Kuma can extract memories from his fruit and all that stuff, but yeah. As Vegapunk ends up explaining this, saying that, similar to how he can take pain and foster into others, like Kuma did to Zoro and all that stuff. Comparing it to a radio signal boost from a radio and all that stuff. And this leads into question about the other things like the mind, heart, and body and all that stuff, and memories and all that stuff, images and all that stuff. So yeah. And if they're like and as these things are all stagnated by neurons, let's see, you want to see how big they are. Let's see, with Kuma realizing that Vegapunk wants him to show him memories and that stuff. But let's see, Kuma is embarrassed at the idea of showing his memories, which, to be fair, let's see. let's say I don't think anyone would really willingly share their memories with someone else because they're, well, they're supposed to be your private thing, and who knows whether or not you've done something embarrassing or whatever secrets you might be hiding. So yeah, that's understandable. And but Vegapunk just kind of ends up begging him, saying that it's a Gritzy for scientific leap and all that stuff, and saying that only he will look at it, but going all begging and pretty please, and him going like, no, I'm not doing it. So yeah, I do kind of like this interaction, like, come on, no, come on, no, come on, no, pretty please, no. I kind of like that. It's a little funny, but yeah. But yeah, clearly that this eventually Kuma, of course, agrees to it. With Vegapunk, which he desperately trying to get Bonnie not to touch it and all that stuff, trying to lie that it's Kuma's pain and all that stuff, saying that it'll be lethal, but it's clear that she knows that it's not the case, as we cut to Kuma being shot down by the Marines as they're preventing him to try and prevent him from reaching the Red Port and all that stuff, Marie Draw and all that stuff. But she ends up knows the powers of her father very well. As Kuma's been shot down, the Marines are now attempting to hold him down and even try and finish him off, as he's like, shocked that he's still alive. As they tell the citizens to leave at once, as Kuma's now activating his Pawpaw powers to attack the Marines. As Bonnie gets closer to touching her father's memories and all that stuff, as Kuma's looking up, clearly perhaps looking at perhaps Marine Draw and perhaps maybe even subconsciously thinking about Bonnie. So yeah. And that's arguably where the Bonnie and Kuma stuff cuts to the end and all that stuff. So yeah, I do like how Vegapunk is just desperately trying to get her to not touch the whole memory thing. Let's see. And it is interesting to see that Marines are capable of shooting down Kuma, but not enough to take him down by themselves, as he's fighting in see all with his paw thing. We still don't know what his function is, but yeah. But clearly he is clearly determined to reach his goal, and I do like how he's taking out Marines just to do it. But anyway, we cut to the let's see, back to the Egghead. Let's see, lab and all that stuff. We have Nami being shocked that Rob Lucci climbed up here and all that stuff. But see, with Shaka commenting that they had some malfunctions in their systems. With Usopp commenting about how it's a good thing that Zoro and Brock were down there to defend the ship. But they're wondering if they hoping that they should be able to hold out on their own. Let's see. Sanji comments that given the fact that the fight is 2 against 3, it really depends on how they can play this. But Shaka comments that it's a closer look and the odds are worse than that. As Usopp ends up getting shocked as the Sepham have also climbed to the top and all that stuff, making the fight 7 against 2, if you will. With Usopp wanting they must have summoned them up here, but Richie Shaka said that no, they did not make any calls to do that. And that the Sephram are programmed to be equipped with enough personality to make decisions for themselves, according to circumstances, depending on the battle. Let's see. With Sanjay commenting, so they sensed that they had a brief opportunity to climb up here. But yeah, with Rob Lucci and Stassi noticing that they didn't really give them the order to come up and all that stuff. Let's see. And with her commenting that they can't really be ordered to go back down since the dome is closed. So let's see. With the I believe the Straw Hats realizing that the CP0 has made a miscalculation. And no, actually, Shaka here commenting that they have made a grave miscalculation, as given the fact they have a higher authority than them at the moment. Let's see. let's see if they get into contact with them. Since you know, it would a bit of a remind, they've given a brief reminder that Authority chip, CP0, Centimaro, and then Vegapunk, and then 5 Elders. So yeah, so they if they get into contact, they were able to control them again. So let's see, but of course they need to get that orders through. Let's see, they still remain a maximum threat. So you see Edison and Lilith hopping down there to go and deal with that stuff. Let's see, with Lilith commenting about how that Brock and Zoro were able to hold the fort while they get there. Well, actually, Edison, but Lilith is excited to go with him and all that stuff. Let's see, as Shaka commands them to continue doing what they're planning, with Lilith still going like how she doesn't take orders from him. With Sanji making a comment about, oh, it's too shame that if Zoro dies against the line of duty just before they reach the One Piece. It's with Nami then giving Sanji the order saying that you're going to, as this would be trouble for the crew. Let's see, with Sanji then making a comment about how he's the Sanji Sepham. That is absolutely no loyal to Nami's orders, but he doesn't like the idea of saving Zoro. Let's see. With Frankie Lenders calling Sanji the surly Zepham, saying that it's serious. So yeah. Let's see. I do like how the Straw Hats just analyzing the situation with Vegapunk and wondering like, okay, what are the odds of like Zoro and Brock defending the thing out there? Currently 2-3, they still might have a chance of winning it, even though they're outnumbered. But with like the added Sephram coming in, okay, no, they probably don't really stand a chance because, well, you got 4 warlords and all that stuff. But it is interesting that the Sephram do have some of their own individuality and all that stuff to make their own battle decisions ready for the thing, and that sort of makes sense because it's like they can't just be mindless robots and all that stuff. So yeah. And I think it's going to show during like the Jinbei battle against the Sharks battle against the Straw Hats earlier and all that stuff. So yeah, but yeah, CP0 realized that. Let's see, too little, too late to give them the order to go back down now, as they made a decision, and they realized that it's probably one that cost them dearly. As Vegapunk, as the Vegapunk satellites realize that they can just give orders to them, you know. I do like how Edison is just like, the thinker is like, okay, I gotta move on it and hurry there before Brock and Zoro are possibly wiped out. And of course, Lilith, who's always ready to go to action, would be the one to join them. I do like the joke about like, stop ordering me when Shaka ends up asking. But we also, of course, get let's see, arguably the 2 Straw Hats would also end up joining them because though granted Sanji and Brock, but Sanji and Frankie, of course, because, well, he's a big Vegapunk fan, but Sanji only because Nami told him to, and he doesn't really, and it's like, and it says more in their rival, like, I don't care if you die, Zoro, but Nami asking me to save you, so I'll do it. But yeah, I do kind of like how both, let's see, Sanji and Frankie are just you calling him a different type of Zephram depending on if he's using his own name or Frankie's nickname for him. So yeah, that's kind of funny. But anyway, let's see. We cut to Zoro and Brock as he's facing off against Kaku, with him commenting like, "Why does he look the way he does?" With Zoro commenting how, let's see, he's supposed to be a giraffe, but he didn't look like that before. Let's see. But he says that they'll still cut him down and he'll be dead like anyone else anyway. And we see that, let's see, and we get a first glimpse that Kaku has black awakened, let's see, and we see that Kaku has, let's see, awakened Black Flame mode to like Rob Lucci as well. Comments to Zoro about how assuming if he can actually cut him. with Zoro telling Brock to guard the ship as Kaku ends up stretching his neck in a sort of circle-like way to attack Zoro with a nose pistol, using his nose to fight. I can't recall if this is what happened in the Endless Lobby. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. And you see them clashing. And I think he's using a move. It might be, I can't tell which one is using the move, but it might be Kaku actually using a move called Kilimanjaro, stretching his necks around and all that stuff. With Zoro just commenting while blocking like with Kaku's attacks, how he just done fighting all these wiggly raggly Sonin users and all that stuff. So it's like, and well, at this point, it's just a repeat of one of them, and it's clear that he's kind of tired of it as he ends up slashing at Kaku, putting him down. Let's see, as Rob Lucci ends up ordering the Saffron to destroy the lab before Vegapunk comes out. So yeah, anyway, so it's confirmed that Kaku also has awakened his fruit, just like Rob Lucci, and I suppose it makes sense. Like, okay, you want to make Kaku stronger? Best way to do that is another awakened thing. So it makes me wonder if Wolf Dude the Liar has also awakened his fruit, the one that Sanji fought in the end. But I could be wrong. But who knows if we'll ever see him again? We'll have to wait and see. But but yeah, but it seems like Kaku's awakened ability allows him to wiggle his neck in shapes that you wouldn't expect from a giraffe, similar to like the dinosaur devil fruit. So yeah, this is his awakening powers. So yeah, it seems that awakened powers does seem to match that of the regular dinosaur, ancient, and mythical zones. So yeah. And I just kind of like how Zoro's just like, oh, I've just done this so many times and back at one, I'm just sick of it. So yeah, that was funny. But yeah. But also, this does seem to confirm that for regular Zonin users, when they awaken, they gain black flames and all that stuff. So yeah. Except for the likes of maybe someone like Chopper, which makes me wonder if Chopper fully masters his awakening fruit, perhaps he'll get black flames. Who knows? I'm not sure. But yeah, I do like the attacks. But anyway, I do like how Rob Lucci is being clever here by telling the Saffron to destroy the lab before any of the Vegapunks come out to give them orders and all that stuff. So yeah, he's realized time's running short, so gotta blast the lab as soon as we can. This makes Shaka and the rest of the and some of the Straw Hats, particularly Usopp and Nami, of our cowardly trio, being scared that no, those Saffron are going to destroy the lab, as we see them unleashing either lasers or their devil fruit or witty sword or whatever skills they have. The S-Hulk with his blade, Kuma with his devil fruit. I think Bo and the Snake and a Shark are just using general laser beams. And you see the lab starting to crash as you see Nami and Usopp falling down. With Kaku commenting how it's quite the light show, as they're going to go ahead and finish their mission, as those Saffrons are going to go finish their mission for them. But just as he comments on this, he gets bit by sorry, none other than Stussy, and which shocks him as he then ends up collapsing and all that stuff. Let's see, with Rob Lucci being shot, with Rob Lucci and his pigeon being shocked, what happened to Kaku, as he looks on and realizes that it was Stussy that does it, asking her what she's doing and all that stuff. And let's see, she only looks forward with a little blood from her lips, licking it and all that stuff, saying like, what did she do? Is she only put him to sleep? And now says Lucci, she's gonna ask him to do the same. As we get an introduction to her, as we get like the introduction thing saying that she's none other than a clone of Miss Buckingham Stussy, Rocks Pirates, Mad Clone Experiment, Successful Subject number 1, Stussy, revealing that she is in fact a clone of, let's see, Stussy, the mother of Weavile, let's see, who claims to be Whitebeard's lover, and reveals that she was not only a member of the Rocks Pirates, which was arguably hinted at back at the beginning of Wano, and also clearly a member of Mads, and that Stussy was the group's first successful clone ending the chapter. So yeah. First of all, I gotta say, I enjoyed the destructive nature of the Seven just using each of the, let's see, probably attacks that they would do for this. Let's see, Kuma and Hawkeyes being, they could do that with their own attacks, while Hancock's and Jinbei's ones are more using the lasers because, well, Jinbei's a fisherman and requires more of like the water abilities. And but Hancock's Mero Ni is more of just like turns people to stone. So yeah, can't really do that as a laser attack, physical, as a sort of long range type attack in the normal method, really. So yeah, it's kind of funny seeing how Usopp and Nami are just like, no, we're gonna die. But yeah. But anyway, the biggest thing of this, of course, is the cliffhanger, the fact that Stussy has seemed to double crossed, let's see, Kaku and Rob Lucci. And many people just comment about the face Rob Lucci does. It's like, oh, ironical, poetic justice as he portrayed Iceberg back in Enies Lobby. Let's see, and now he's being betrayed himself and all that stuff. So yeah, I wonder if he will realize the double standards here, but probably not. He's probably too cocky to realize that. But yeah, but it's interesting that let's see, we get a glimpse of what Stussy can do. It seems like she has like clearly some sort of vampire and back wings like abilities, so some sort of like vampire thing. Unknown if it's actually a devil fruit. I believe there was some sort of vampire like devil fruit in a One Piece game. I think it was World Seeker or something, but yeah. Or was it? I don't know. I don't know. I have it on my Switch, but I'm too busy to get up. So yeah, I do like that, but clearly it's before we know it might be some sort of mythical zoning fruit, or might be some other secret race thing. But yeah, but of course the main revelation is the fact that this is a clone of the Rocks pirate, of like Buckingham Stussy and all that stuff, the self-proclaimed love of Whitebeard, revealing that she is indeed a member of the Rocks Pirates, and that she was arguably the member of Mads. So yeah, so she's clearly gone quite a bit of history. And given the fact that this is the first successful clone of Mads, this leads to all sorts of possibilities in that, yes, Oda is doing cloning. With the biggest ones that most people are saying is that Weavile is clearly probably some clone of Whitebeard, maybe some hybrid clone of Whitebeard and Stussy. So in some ways, he's technically Whitebeard's child, just not in the natural born way, if you will. So yeah. So it is interesting to be that, but possibly a failed clone, because as far as we can tell, young Whitebeard has never looked like Weavile and all that stuff. So yeah, there's also leads, but Oda's now opened the door to lead to people to speculate who else is a clone, and the ones I'm mostly seeing, of course, besides Weavile, is Bonnie. Perhaps she's a clone. Some saying, oh, a clone of Big Mom, which I doubt that's going to be the case, but who knows, perhaps she's like a clone of Kuma's original daughter. That one is more likely if that is the case. And also, this has brought back, let's see, the fact that some speculate that Kunai and Tatsitsuki look quite similar, that it can't be just a coincidence, and perhaps she's actually a clone Zoro's friend. Now, while that would be a big of a bombshell, I do think it might just be a stretch for Vegapunk to make a clone of a random girl from a dojo and who's the heir to a dojo in the East Blue. But who knows? We could be wrong on that count. But yeah, it might just still be just a coincidence that Oda Multiverse something, but isn't going to do so, but who knows? But yeah, but this is getting everyone to guess. Okay, ooh, Dragon's a clone. No, Luffy's a clone. Who is a clone? And blah, 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 but who knows? Well, I doubt many of the. I think One Piece fans will go over the top with this, but I think there will probably be a few people that are revealed to be clones, or there will be other clones down the line, but I doubt it'll be on the scale that some fans are just over theorizing and going crazy about. But nevertheless, it's quite the shocking cliff turner thing. And even though I know what happens afterwards, given the early translations coming out, but I will read the official ones when they do come out as well when reviewing. Always try and support the officials when you can, folks. So yeah, but her betrayals led all kinds of possibilities. Some believe like, oh, she was Vegapunk's spy. Oh, she's a member of the Blackbeard crew. Oh wait, she's still sort of loyal to Buckham Stussy, and oh, she's with this group and all that stuff. Yada yada yada. But yeah, clearly it led to quite a lot of speculation, and that's honestly wonderful for One Piece. So yeah. I'm really looking forward to see what Oda plans to do with this character long term. Overall, I think I'll give this chapter a 9 out of 10. It's mostly a Bonnie and Vegapunk chapter for the first half. Learning more about Barney's abilities. I can see why some people like Mr. Moji is thinking that, okay, Barney might actually be the next Straw Hat. Who knows what they'll see. But clearly that her abilities. Vegapunk says that he can't tell her because he promised Kuma. Apparently, Kuma chose it himself. As we see, Kuma fighting on the red line, and it's clear that we're going to get some sort of like flashback with Barney and Kuma's memories at some point, and who knows how that will change her mind or how that might devastate her. Other than that, we see that okay, all zoning devil fruits have the same awakened cloud things around them as when we see with Kaku, a brief match against Zoro. That's all it really needs to be fair. And Stussy's sort of like betrayal and all that stuff. Oh, and Stefan has a mind of their own, and all the speculation that led to that. But now, that's all I have to say, folks. Thank you for joining me if you listened all the way to the end of this review. I hope to see you again soon. Have a nice day, and goodbye.